dive in. Today we're tackling habits, how they form, why they even matter, and how we can, use that knowledge to actually improve our lives.
Yeah.
You sent over this episode of Podcast and Chill with Leo and Gwen.
Yeah.
And they had some really, really interesting points in there. I mean, it's kind of crazy how much we do on autopilot, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
I had no idea it was that much.
It's a lot. I mean, Podcast and Chill mention a study from Duke University. It found that something like 40% of our daily actions are totally habit-driven.
40%. Whoa, that's almost half our day. It really makes you think about what are we actually choosing to do?
Right.
But I guess on the other hand, it's kind of freeing in a way, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Can you imagine if our brains had to actively think about every little thing we did all day?
Oh, we'd be exhausted before we even got out of bed.
Totally.
It's true. Habits are our brain's way of just being efficient. You know, they free up that mental space so we can focus on things that actually need more brain power, like problem solving or making decisions.
So it's our brains are kind of like computers, right?
Yeah,
With limited RAM.
exactly.
Makes sense. But I'm curious about something. Leo and Gwen from the podcast, they talk about reading for just 10 minutes a day. It's pretty simple, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But they say it adds up to over 60 hours of reading a year.
That's a lot of reading.
Right. That's going to have a huge impact over time.
Absolutely. It's the power of, small, consistent actions. It's not about making these huge changes overnight. It's the little things we do every day. Imagine investing a little bit of money regularly. It might not seem like much at first, but over time, the returns can be, significant.
Okay, I see how it all kind of connects. So how does this whole habit loop thing actually work?
Oh, yeah.
Leo and Gwen, they broke it down into 3 parts. Cue, routine, reward.
They used a great example, waking up, your alarm clock, that's the cue, right?
Oh.
And then, stretching when you first get out of bed.
Yeah.
That's the routine. And then that feeling of, being energized and ready to start your day, that's the reward.
So they said that with repetition, this loop gets stronger, right?
Yeah.
The more you do it, the more it becomes automatic.
Exactly. Every time you complete the loop, your brain strengthens the connection. Imagine walking the same path in the woods every day, right?
Yeah.
You end up creating this clear trail, and it gets easier to follow each time.
So it's our brains are constantly building these pathways, making it easier to slip into that autopilot mode.
Yeah, exactly.
But how do we make sure we're building the right pathways?
Oh, that's the big question.
Right.
The ones that lead to, good habits, not the bad ones. That's where the real work comes in. It's not just about knowing how habits work. It's about using that knowledge to actually design a life that you want.
Okay, so it's we're the architects of our own habits,
Exactly.
shaping our brains through the choices we make and the things we do every day.
Yeah.
That's pretty empowering, actually.
It is empowering.
Yeah.
And it all starts with that first step, really being aware of your habits and making choices about the ones you want to build.
Yeah.
The ones you want to really cultivate.
But let's be real for a sec.
Yeah.
Building new habits, breaking old ones, it's not always easy.
Yeah.
Even when we get the science behind it.
You're absolutely right. Knowledge is just one piece of the puzzle. The real challenge is, actually applying it.
Yeah.
Day after day and dealing with all the roadblocks that come up.
Yeah, Leo and Gwen talked about this thing, habit replacement. I thought that was interesting.
Oh, yeah.
They used the example of Leo struggling with checking his phone first thing in the morning.
Which I'm totally guilty of, too.
Oh, me too. So many of us do it.
It's the first thing we do.
Without even thinking.
Yeah. But instead of trying to just stop checking his phone, he replaced it with something else. Something actually good for him. Yeah. He started drinking water and doing some deep breathing exercises.
So instead of fighting that urge, he's redirecting it.
Exactly. Turning it into a positive.
I like that. But okay, what about when willpower just isn't enough?
Yeah.
What do you do then?
Well, sometimes you need to dig a little deeper, I think.
Yeah.
Figure out the why behind the habit.
The why.
Yeah. Like Leo and Gwen said, it's about figuring out what need that habit is fulfilling.
Oh, okay. So if I catch myself scrolling through social media every night, it's not just because I have no willpower.
Right.
Maybe I'm craving connection or just a way to unwind after a long day.
Exactly. And once you figure out that underlying need, you can find healthier ways to meet it.
So maybe instead of mindlessly scrolling, I call a friend or spend time with my family or even just do something relaxing.
Exactly. It's about treating the root cause, not just the symptom.
Yeah, That makes a lot of sense. It's not just about willpower. It's about understanding ourselves better.
And that's where self-awareness is so crucial, The more we understand our own, like, triggers, our routines, our rewards, the better we are at actually changing things.
Yeah. It's like becoming a detective of our own habits.
Exactly.
Leo mentioned he uses a habit tracker,
Oh, yeah.
but he said it's not just about checking boxes. He said it helps him like see patterns in his behavior.
Oh, that's so smart. Tracking can be really helpful. You can start to notice trends, like when are you most tempted? What specific things trigger those, unwanted behaviors? What
Mhm.
rewards actually work for you? Which ones don't?
It's like data on your own habits.
Right. You can analyze your progress and, see what needs to change.
Yeah, it's data-driven habit formation.
It can be really empowering. When you understand your habit loops, you can actually design your environment and your routine to make it easier to stick to the good stuff
Yeah.
and, avoid the bad.
So it's not about brute force.
Oh.
It's about being strategic.
Yeah, setting yourself up for success.
Oh, Leo and Gwen also talked about community,
Yeah.
right? They said sharing your goals and finding people who like hold you accountable can be huge.
It can make all the difference. Having that support system, whether it's a workout buddy or a study group or just a friend who gets it,
Yeah.
it really helps you stay on track and push through challenges.
It's like having your own personal cheering section,
Right. Sometimes just knowing someone's counting on you is all it takes to stay committed.
especially on those days when you just don't feel like it.
Totally. Even just talking about your goals with someone who gets it, it can be so helpful. It's like a reminder that you're not alone on this journey.
Yeah, community is so key.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, and then there was this other concept I wanted to ask about. Keystone habits. What are those exactly?
Keystone habits are fascinating. They're like habits that have this ripple effect. They trigger positive changes in other areas of your life.
So it's like one habit that unlocks a whole chain reaction of good stuff.
Exactly. For example, let's say you start exercising regularly. That one habit could improve your sleep, your energy levels, your eating habits, even your mood.
Wow, so many positive changes.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But I guess it's not always a direct cause and effect, right?
Yeah, sometimes the connection's more indirect, like meditation. It might not directly improve your work, but it could help you focus better, feel less stressed, make better decisions, and all of that can actually boost your productivity.
So it's about finding those habits that have a kind of cascading effect, like they create positive shifts in unexpected ways.
Yeah.
But how do you figure out what your keystone habits are? Is it different for everyone?
That's the thing. There's no one right answer. It really depends on the person.
Okay.
It's all about experimenting, trying things out, seeing what impact different habits have on your life, and figuring out what works best for you.
Like a personal experiment.
Exactly. The more you understand yourself, the better you get at identifying the habits that have the most impact.
Okay, so I think we've covered a lot.
We have.
We talked about understanding the why behind our habits, being self-aware, the idea of keystone habits, the importance of community, and the fact that habits aren't destiny,
Right.
We can change them. I think it's been a pretty insightful conversation.
It has. We've just scratched the surface, though.
Yeah. But I think we've given our listeners a good place to start.
I think so, too. And I'm really excited to see what they do with it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, before we move on, let's bring it back to our listeners for a sec. Like, what are some key takeaways they can actually use?
I think the most important one is that habits are powerful, but they're not set in stone. We can change them. And by doing that, we can change our lives.
Like taking back control of the autopilot.
Exactly. And remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about making small changes over time, being patient.
Progress over perfection. Like that.
Absolutely. You don't have to do everything at once. Just focus on one small habit, master it, then move on to the next.
One step at a time.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And don't forget about getting support. Share your goals. Find people who will cheer you on. It makes such a difference.
Like having a co-pilot on this flight to better habits.
Exactly. We're all in this together.
We are, and we believe you can do it. You can create the life you want, one habit at a time.
So we've been on this incredible journey exploring habits, right? We've talked about the science, the psychology, even the philosophy of it all.
We've uncovered some pretty cool insights. I mean, from understanding that whole habit loop to
Yeah.
finding those powerful keystone habits.
Yeah. And we asked our listeners to think about, that one keystone habit that could really make a difference in their life. I hope they've had some time to really think about that, because we're going to take things to a whole new level now.
Ooh, okay. I'm intrigued. What do you have in mind?
Okay, remember how Leo and Gwen talked about replacing like bad habits with good ones?
Yeah.
What if, instead of just focusing on, like, individual habits, we thought about our whole day as a series of habits, all kind of connected and flowing together?
Oh, so like designing this chain of positive behaviors that build on each other throughout the day.
Exactly. We could create what I like to call a habit cascade.
A habit cascade.
Yeah. It's like strategically sequencing your habits to create that ripple effect, like a cascade of water,
Mm-hmm.
flowing from one level to the next.
Habit cascade. I love that. It really captures that sense of like momentum
Yeah.
and flow.
So let's say your keystone habit is exercise. You could build a habit cascade around that by, like, starting your day with a workout.
Okay. Yeah.
That burst of energy and, like, all those endorphins could fuel other good habits.
Oh, for sure.
You might be more motivated to eat a healthy breakfast, and then that could set you up for a more focused, productive day at work.
Right. And then feeling good about getting things done at work, that could like carry over into the evening. Maybe you're more likely to relax, spend time with family.
Yeah. It's like each habit becomes this stepping stone. It pushes you towards the next positive action. It's like almost like a self-perpetuating cycle of good stuff.
Yeah. And the coolest thing is once you get that momentum going, it becomes easier to keep it up.
Yeah.
It's like they all start supporting each other, creating this like virtuous cycle.
It's like this upward spiral of positive behavior. The possibilities are, like, endless.
I know. And the best part, you can tailor it to you, your needs, your goals.
Exactly. If you want to be more creative, maybe you start your day with journaling or a walk in nature.
Oh, yeah. Or if you want to be more mindful, maybe you add in little meditation breaks throughout the day.
It's all about, like, designing a routine that reflects what's important to you
Mm-hmm.
and helps you, like, become the best version of yourself.
I think our listeners are going to have so much fun with this habit cascade. It's such a like creative and empowering way to approach personal growth.
It really shows you the power we have to shape our own lives, through the choices we make every day.
And it reminds us that even those tiny little actions can make a huge difference over time.
It's about those small steps, those little changes to our routine that, when we do them consistently, can lead to, like, amazing transformations.
Absolutely. It's not about changing everything overnight. It's about the journey. It's about those small victories along the way.
And it's okay to, like, mess up sometimes, right?
Oh, yeah. We all have setbacks. It's totally normal. The important thing is to learn from them and keep going.
It's not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. I think that's a great note to end on.
I agree.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into habits, we just want to encourage you to, embrace this journey, embrace this, like, process of self-discovery and growth.
Experiment, build your own habit cascade,
Mhm.
and don't forget to like celebrate those small wins.
And never underestimate the power you have to create the life you want, one habit at a time.
That's it. Until next time, happy habit building.